Yep, welcome to BRR Knowledge. This session, we are going to talk about object-oriented programming approach. In the earlier session, we talk about procedure-oriented programming language, wherein the program is going to be executed sequentially based on the commands, which you are dividing your program into divided and subdivided entities. Now, coming to the object-oriented programming approach, this is enhanced from a procedural-oriented program because that is going to be executed sequentially from top to down entity execution process. But with that, so I may want to execute some of the entity middle of my program, which cannot be possible because that is top-down approach or top to bottom execution process. And coming to this object-oriented programming approach, you can use from anywhere, or you can invoke any function or start executing any position of your program. So this OOPS concept can be defined as a programming model which is based upon concept of objects. The name itself saying that object, right? So object contains data in the form of attributes and code in the form of methods. So this basically contains attributes and methods. In the object-oriented programming, computer programs are designed using concept of objects. If you look at the diagram, this is what the diagram I just wanted to explain. Look at here, we have different components. These are the concepts we have in object-oriented programming. Like since from object, right? The class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. These are the concepts we have in object-oriented programming language. So programming languages are various, but most popular ones are, right, this class-based, meaning that objects are instances of classes, which also determines the types. Okay, so let's see what is this object-oriented programming language more in detail, right? And you will be knowing the concepts step by step. So this object-oriented, right, programming can be defined as a programming model which is based on the concepts of methods, sorry, concepts of objects, right? We're calling it an object. Everything is an object. Object contains, right, data in the form of attributes and methods, right? In this object-oriented programming, computer programs are designed using concept of objects, correct? So object-oriented, object-oriented programming languages, right, are various, but popular, the most popular ones are class-based, meaning that objects are instances of classes. Okay, so the object-oriented programming language like C++, Java, and C#, these are object-oriented programming languages. So this object-oriented programming having below concepts. As I said, classes, objects, data abstraction, data encapsulation, right? Inheritance, polymorphism, right? And binding. So I can say this is kind of binding. We can use it in polymorphism. So basically, these six are the concepts I can say. These are the three, and these are the three. Okay. So when we talk about individually, what is the class and what is this an object? When you talk about the class, right, and objects, classes in OOPS concept are similar to the blueprint, which has the data members and the member functions, right? Classes in OOPS are similar to the blueprint, which has the data members, I can say attributes, and the member functions. Objects are basically the instance of the class. Objects are the objects are basically the instances of classes. So what is object or what is an instance? If you want to access a class, right, you need to create instance, right? With the help of instance only, you are going to call the class. So as I mentioned, like I have a class student, right? Inside of class, I have a function, right? Some simple like function one, I have it. And I have other function as well of string type, right? If you want to access these functions, right, you need to create object to this particular class, your student class. So how to create? So student obj equal to new student. This is how you are going to create object for your class, right? New is the keyword which is going to create instance to class. Now you can access function one dot function two like this. That's what I'm trying to explain here, classes and the objects. Okay. And if you want more in detail, right, you just let me explain. I have a bicycle class where I have a cast, right, the brand and weight, and I have a kind of functions like braking and pedaling, right? If you want to access braking and pedaling, you need to create an instance for bicycle, correct? That's what the class and objects. And coming to the next one is data abstraction. What is this data abstraction? So data abstraction is a concept where only the essential data is shown and the relevant information is hidden from the user, right? So that means hiding of data inside of your class is going to be comes under abstraction. So, so data abstraction means data abstraction is a concept of, right? Concept where only the essential data is shown. Suppose you are sending a mail, right? And you can see, right, only email sent successfully message, right? It doesn't show all the internal process or operations that happen while sending the mail. Similarly, you're taking a photo from your camera, and when you click or capture, it is going to take the photo, but you won't see like how it is going to capture photo inside process. That's what abstraction, right? Right. So it's a process which is going to show only the essential data and the irrelevant, right? Information is hidden from the user. Okay. Coming to this data encapsulation. So what is this data encapsulation? So when you talk about data encapsulation, right, the process of wrapping up the entire set of data members and member functions into a single unit is called encapsulation. Encapsulation concepts are useful in OOPS concept to provide direct access to the data. If you look at here, this is my class. If I want to pass this entire class to some other function, I don't need to pass entire function or entire class. I just create instance, right? And this simple object, I'm going to pass it. That means wrapping up everything into single unit here, obj, and that obj I'm going to pass it to other function. That's what data encapsulation. That means the process of the process of let me the process of wrapping up of the entire set of the data members and member functions into a single unit called encapsulation. So encapsulation concepts are useful, right, to avoid direct access. It is useful to avoid direct access to the data. Okay. And next component is inheritance. right? Inheritance. So inheritance is nothing but, right? It's a concept in OOPS concept where the derived class inherits the properties of base class, just like how the child inherits the properties of parent. Suppose you have a student class, right? And I have a, right, another class here, right? Class marks. Instead of this, I have some attributes. Let me use this font. So this is my other class. And here I have marks. Int mark1, int marks2, int marks3. So I wanted to use this marks to this particular student, or I want to use the student into this marks, because the student class having student ID, right? Student yes name attributes. Okay, because I'm going to create, right, a function or to display the student data. Okay, so if you want to use this particular student data into this marks, you need to use inheritance, that is this way. So using of base class members into a derived class is nothing but inheritance. Okay, so inheritance means inheritance is a very important concept of OOPS, where the derived class, right, inherits the properties of the base class, just like how child inherits the properties of its parent. Okay, and next one is polymorphism. Polymorphism is nothing but ability to take more than one form by using polymorphism. It is possible to make an object to behave differently in various situations. Like I have a function where the name is add. If you pass integer numbers, it is going to add numbers. When you pass strings, it is going to concatenate. So same function is behaving differently. That is what a polymorphism. It has two different kind of polymorphisms. We'll talk about this in coming sessions, but we just concentrate on the definition of polymorphism in this session. So polymorphism is nothing but polymorphism is the ability, right? Is the ability to take more than one form by using polymorphism. By using polymorphism, it is possible to make the object to behave differently in various situations. Polymorphism is classified into two types. It is classified it is classified into two types. One is, right, runtime polymorphism. Second thing is compile time polymorphism. Okay, we'll talk about these two in the coming sessions, right? And next object-oriented concept is, right, what is so far we've seen classes and objects and data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphs. I think we covered all, right? Polymorphs. I think dynamic binding also comes under this. That is kind of a runtime polymorphism, I can say. I think dynamic binding is the concept of the OOPS concept. In dynamic binding, set of code that is executed in reference to the function is determined only at the runtime, right? So we can talk about this. This is basically runtime polymorphism, or dynamic polymorphism. This is compile time polymorphism or static polymorphism. Okay, this is what object-oriented programming, right? We are going to use it as part of this latest programming concepts, right? So with this object-oriented programming, so we have some advantages like faster development, because object-oriented programming has the feature of reusability. It makes easier to develop the code very faster. Hence, this object-oriented programming languages are very faster and useful, are equipped with many libraries of objects, right? So hence it is more faster compared to procedural programming language. Okay. So I hope you understood the approach object-oriented programming language with these concepts, right? Classes and objects, right? And abstraction and encapsulation, and the inheritance and polymorphism. We'll see one by one in coming sessions, like with some examples mapping to real time, and you'll be knowing more in detail of each concept. Okay, so thanks for listening to this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos.